Hi everyone, it's Nancy McNally. Today we're going to work on block number 2 of the pumpkin spice quilt along. So here's what we're going to work on. We're going to take the Diane's Market Square, also known as the Missouri Puzzle Quilt block, and we're going to put our border around it. So take a look at the pattern cover or the image of the quilt, and you'll see Diane's Market Square right in the middle. So we're going to add the borders to that. Now, whatever color you choose to do this part, it's perfectly fine. So let's get our fabrics ready. Go download your pattern, print it off if you need to, and let's get started making our block number 2, which is really bordering, and there's little blocks in the corner. All right, so I have Diane's Market Square block 1 on top, just to remind you that if you're just now joining us, you need to have, I'll move these over just a little bit so you can see the actual block. You need to have this block already pieced because that is the center of the quilt. Let me move it back up here. There we go. All right, so if you have not downloaded this pattern and made the center, you can go find this block on my website and the link will be below. And you can copy it and paste. It'll be in the description box. So now we need to start Pumpkin Spice block 2, which is the borders around the Diane's Market Square quilt block. Now this is very, very important before we begin cutting our fabric. You need to make sure that this is exactly the size that it states in the pattern. This is the very center, and from here on out, the quilt size, the blocks that we're going to connect to it are based on how you piece this block. All right, so now let's get started. So as you can see, I've already pieced my 9 patches, which are in the corners, when we border our Diane's Market Square quilt block. And I already have 3 of the border sashings, whatever you want to call them. So there's going to be 1 at the top, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on each left and right side. So I have this right here that I need to piece today to attach it to here. So what is our skill that we are going to learn in this quilt block? When we add a border or sashing to our quilt blocks, we need to make sure that everything is to size. That's why pattern designers put that in the pattern. If you've never noticed that, that is why. If you think your sewing is perfect and you don't make mistakes, well, just measure your stuff. You'll find out really quick. It's like, oh shoot, that's not a perfect seam. All right, so also when you make these, which I'm going to show you those in just a few minutes, you also need to make sure that these are the size listed in the pattern. All right, so I'm going to set those aside. So what we're going to do is, what I have you do is I have you cut strips in the beginning, and then you subcut those strips. So when we cut I'm going to move this out of the way so that we can focus on what's our next step. So when we cut our fabric strips, both your light background fabric and your center strip here, whatever color you're using, so when you're cutting your fabrics, I have you subcut them. So you're going to cut strips of your background fabric and 2 strips of your dark fabric. And the dark is whichever color you are choosing. All right, so I have, as you can see, those 3 already sewn, and I need to sew this one right here. So because these are longer than, say, 6 inches, I would suggest when you lay them out, before you sew them, you're going to do, if I can make them work, there you go. I'm having to reach around the camera stand, I apologize. I'm going to lay them out the way they're supposed to be joined. So here we go, just like this. All right, let me get this one sewn. So you're going to sew these first, then press. Then join this one to the dark one, and then press. And I'll meet you right back here. Quick tip for those that may not have ever sewn long strips or you've never made a strip set. Because I'm having you cut these to a particular size, which is the size of the Diane's Market Square quilt block, there's still a chance that you can warp these strips. And that happens when you're sewing long pieces like these. and you handle them too much. You're pulling and tugging on them too much. So to prevent that, and using the pulling and the tugging, comes from you handling it, trying to keep everything lined up. So go ahead. Now I've placed 4 pins. I've placed 4 pins in mine to keep it together so I don't have to constantly stop. And do not sew over your pins, please. Now, if you're curious, I do have a brand new needle in my machine. I'm using a Microtex. Here, let me get the package. I've already opened it up. I'm using a Schmidt's Microtex 8012. It is my favorite needle to sew with. Now, embroidery, that's another subject, but for piecing, this is what I use. All right, it's time to get these sewn. So I'm going to do this one first, press it just like I stated before, and then I will join the other one to the other side of the dark blue strip. Okay, so I've got my 4th border sashing, whatever you want to call it. That it's the inner border, actually, is what it is, that we're going to put around Diane's market square. So I'm going to move this one out of the way because we need to make our 9 patches. Now, with the leftover strips from this cutting, both of those, the background and the blue, you can get your pieces from here. And if you follow the instructions, like I say, in the cutting in the beginning, you will see that you're going to cut these strips first. You're going to subcut them into the longer pieces, and then you'll cut out these. Now, I didn't have you strip piece this center row of the 9 patch because I didn't know what color you were going to use. That's why I didn't do that. So let's lay our little blocks out. As you can see, I've already got mine done. You can do them in any color order you would like to do. And guess what color I don't have in here? Where are my white pieces? Okay, well, I'm just going to show you here. I don't know where my white pieces are. Okay, so you're going to lay them out as shown, and I'm still going to look for them, but I want to show you this much. I actually showed you how to make 9 patches in the Diane's Market Square quilt block, so I really don't need to show you again. So if you can watch that video, I'll put the link in the description box. How's that? I still don't know where these white pieces are. I'm going to look all over for them because I know I had them. You're going to lay out your blocks your squares, the way you would like them. I have a lot of little pieces here, as you can see. I didn't, if I can get them apart. I didn't use like the same yellow. I didn't use the same green. I did use the same red because I thought that the variety that you get with the piece of fabric that I was using, it offered, you know, a nice different types of colors in there. You can use whatever you want. Lay your 9 patch out. You're going to sew the 3 units that are in row 1 together. Then you're going to sew these 3 units together in the middle row. Don't forget to follow the pressing seam allowance arrows in the pattern. And then you're going to do the same for this row here. Sew them together. Then you're going to join row 1 to row 2, which is the middle row, and then join row 3 to the middle row. And don't forget to press along the way. All right? And they should make sure they're the size that they should be. And so now let me get set up for the next step, and we will continue on. And this block is almost done. All right, so as you can see, I've already attached this 9 patch block to one of the inner border strips. So this is just as a reminder, as you go to attach these, make sure you're nesting these 2 seams right here first, not this out here. You will line these 2 right here, go right sides together, and make sure that they're nesting right in there. And then when you sew and flip them back, they'll be all lined up. Now, I did pin mine in place, but if you're comfortable with not pinning, that's okay. It's your choice. So you're going to do this to both ends on 2 of the inner border strips. So once you get that done, then we're going to attach the other 2 sashing strips, here they are, to the left and the right sides of the Diane's Market Square quilt block. So I'm going to line these up. Now look, there are no seams to align. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to treat this like a border. Well, it is a border, but I'm going to treat it like it's one of the long borders you're going to attach to the outer edge of your quilt. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold this in half, just like this. Sorry if that was too close to the camera. Okay, And I'm going to put a pin in here. I'm going to open it up so you can see that. Now I'm going to take this and do the same thing. Fold it in half, line those center seams up if you need to, but anyways, just find center. It's easy peasy like that. I'm going to pinch it, and so I've got my crease there. I hope you can see that. Maybe if I fold it like that, you can see it. And I'm going to place that crease right there where that pin is. And I'm going to pin it because this should be the same size as your square. All right, the next thing you need to do is you're going to align. Remember, we're treating this like as if this was a really long border. Next, you're going to go and you're going to line up your corners right here. Place a pin. This is how you apply borders properly. You should have measured. I hope you measured both ways because that's why I've stressed this so much. All right. Okay. And then we're going to put a pin here. Now I have my corners lined up. Now for a really long quilt or a big quilt, I would place more pins in to keep that border strip in place because it will move. Just think about the quilts laying in your lap as you're trying to feed it through the machine, or it's trying to be fed through the machine. Now it's ready to sew. I'm going to get this one sewn. I'm going to press, and then I'm going to place the other border on the other side. So this is the right-hand side. I'm going to do the left afterwards. All right, I'm going to get these sewn, and then we'll meet right back here. Okay, as you can see, I've attached both the left and the right sides, and I've pressed. Now, I'm going to pull this down so it's a little closer for me to reach. Okay. All right. Oh, I need to fix that seam. All right. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Remember, it's just fabric. It's not nerve endings. All right. So on this one, we are going to have to, now that I've pieced these, we're going to join these. So what you're going to do is you're also going to find center. So we're going to join these or go right sides together. And I'm going to pinch this one. I'm going to pinch this one really good. I'll lay that on top of my machine. And then I'm going to go wrong side to wrong side this time. All right, let's get this. Match these up. I'm going to go seam to make sure I find true center. There we go. All right, I'm going to press this one really, really good. I'm not going to use a pin this time. You're welcome to use a pin. All right, so it's right there. We're going to take, where's the one I pinched? There it is. I am standing up to do this. I normally sit to do this when I'm filming, so I'm having to reach around my camera stand. Okay, so we're going to line those creases up, and yes, we're going to, and we're going to put a pin in it. Now the next thing you're going to do is you are going to align the 9-patch seam with the border to this one, all right? I want you to do that first. I was having a hard time seeing. I'm going to place a pin in there, in that seam. Now, I'm going to put this one, and so we're also going to nest these seams right in here, because the 9-patch here has to line up with this, just like we did a few minutes ago. So again, I'm going to make sure those seams are nesting right there. Okay, and now this one right here should be aligned, right here, this corner, and it is. But because things happen when we're taking it from point A to point B, and point B being the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and place, I know that's a lot of pins there, but it works for me. Okay, so I'm just going to place a few more pins in here, and now we're going to go to this side. Now, talk yourself through this one. First thing we need to do is we are going to align these 3 seams right here, 1, 2, and 3. So let's do this one. And then these should line right up, and it looks like they are. Okay, now it's ready to sew. So you're going to repeat the process on the other side. Make sure you're aligning those seams. Find center first. That's what we did right there. And then you're going to go align the seams from the 9-patch to the seams from the left and right border. Okay? All right, I'm going to get this one sewn and attach the other one, and then it'll be done. Woo! Okay, I actually have it all completed, but it's hard to scrunch it in here, and I've got the tablet stand holder in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down so that you can see. So I've got it. Everything measures correctly. And here's the other side. There we go. There we go. Oh, I need to press that side over there again. All right, so this is block 2. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to show you the next block. It is so cute. So here's our next block. It's coming out, so hang in there. I hope you are enjoying this, and I will see you on the next pumpkin spice block tutorial. Thank you everyone for joining me today, and if you like these video tutorials, please show some support by subscribing to my YouTube channel. You can find more of my patterns on nancymcnallyquilts.com, and you can follow me on social media. I have a Facebook group called So Anyways with Nancy McNally, and I'll put that in the description box below. And I'm also on Instagram, which is @McNallyNancy. And I have a Facebook business page, Nancy McNally Quilts. All right, everybody, please subscribe to my newsletter so you can also learn more about what's happening and my blog. Have a wonderful day. Thank you again.